to DCI Finals for the first time in 7 years, and this is everything I did. I boarded my flight at 4 a.m. and then saw Lucas Oil Stadium on the way here. When I got close, I got super emotional because how long it's been. I missed this activity so much. I was then greeted with a Blue Coats tent showcasing Encore's history. This was really cool to see. Nearby was a Troopers historical tent, and they had a lot of great artifacts and pictures as well. A true treat. I got Sam in his booklet for every tent I visited for a prize later on. Nearby was a Sound Sword International showcasing smaller outdoor marching groups. A great way to start today. I even got to see Rhythm and Blue from the Blue Coats. Great show. It was super hot and my phone was overheating, draining batteries so much I went to cool off and get some Kona ice in the shade. I walked for 15 minutes to Military Park to see the first course of the day warming up. I love how we can see course this close. The Colts horn line walked in and did a couple big circles around the park to settle on the spot. Gotta find a perfect place to warm up. I love it. They had fun selling it and then went straight to business. Great energy. I love it, Colts. I realized the other horn lines were warming up at the convention center, so I raced over there on the bird just like old time. I believe this is the right spot. I then saw the Cavaliers doing a visual warm up and then the Troopers with their musical rehearsal. They were so kind and let us sing in a circle and I got a reaction video. This was the first time I was actually in a drum corps circle. Thank you, Troopers. Their show had such high energy and intensity. I loved it, especially getting this close. I've been all day trying to look for the Blue Knights because they were the first to perform and I finally found them. I love how vivid their uniforms look. Thank you so much for the Blue Knights for saying hi to me as they were passing by to start the DCI Finals show. I had to run all the way back to the stadium, and even though it was nearby, it was still checked to get all the way to my seat. Even after all this again, I still had to go all the way to the other side of the stadium to finally sit down. Oh boy, was it worth it when I got here. I made it just in time to see the first quarter of the day, the Blue Knights. Caught the sky between it, a super motion to show that showcased great pass playing, nice color palette, cool sound effects, amazing choreography, and this amazing aura farming flute solo. What a great way to start off DCI Finals. Love you, Blue Knights. Troopers arrived. I got to see them warm up earlier, and seeing them for the full performance was certainly a treat. Their production called Into Darkness was a very intense action-filled show with lots of great high energy, brass moments, and spectacular field staging. They had great military-like uniforms with an extremely dramatic presentation, and I loved it. Thank you, Troopers. It was a golden summer for Spirit of Atlanta for their 50th anniversary season. They put on a really fun and happy presentation showcasing the fun times of summer during an older time period. The brass had such high energy and their presentation was so beautiful and well worth being in final after all these years. Now celebrating the 250th anniversary of the US, the Colts presented their show, The American Experiment. This show was full on drum corps craziness and high energy. I absolutely loved it. I liked the classical uniforms at the beginning and then transitioning into more modern colorful uniforms. Certainly an American and a drum corps experiment of absolute craziness, and I loved it. And of course the flag raising was the cherry on the top. USA. Thank you, Colts, for celebrating America 250. Now I wanted to see a couple more warm-ups, so I raced back to the convention center. Again, this is just a far walk. You definitely gotta run for this. And I first found the Santa Clara Vanguard. It was so cool to see them up close. They then went into a huddle to do a singing rep with a ballad hit. This was absolutely amazing to hear. Then when they got back to warm up on their horns, just the singing were so powerful. Their show reps were again absolutely amazing to hear. I love it. I saw so many videos and reacted to them, and it was a dream come true to finally hear these musical segments in real life. This show is so wow. Thank you, Santa Clara Vanguard, for all that you do. Amazing stuff. It was now time for Carolina Crown's warm up in a room nearby. At first there was silence, and then the brass caption had Matt Harloff let out a big cheer as the horn line came in for a final pep talk. They certainly had fun here. They soon got into the circle and started the musical portion of their warm up. Those warm ups the Saints they were doing were absolutely so intense and powerful. Such a treat to get this close to this horn line. We then got a nice singing rep for them as well. Such an amazing experience to hear a horn line sing. Then I walked around a little bit as subsectionals were going on. Now it's time for the famous Carolina Crown drop the hammer moment with Matt Harloff. It was so cool to see how proud he was during these tuning sequences. And of course it was such a joy to see him passionately conduct the brass line as they went absolutely nuts. I love this horn line. This course is absolutely amazing because of the crazy efforts from everyone here. Thank you, Carolina Crown. It really was a dream come true to be in their room during this moment. I love listening to this horn line. I can't get enough. Now at this moment I got a front row seat of them rehearsing all their magical musical segments one last time for the DCI Finals Day show. It is so crazy to hear his powerful horn line pointed directly at us. I absolutely loved it. They started wrapping up and it was time for me to run back to the stadium. On the way I was able to get a quick peek at the Blue Coats. Blue! Okay, time to run for real. I'm glad it's not a military park, otherwise I would have needed an Uber. If you're not a performer, you definitely gotta hustle to make the show. I was able to make it and almost missed the Santa Clara Vanguard. I just made it in time to see Vanguard after I watched him warm up earlier, but unfortunately I didn't make it in time to sit down. It's okay because there was still a pretty good view from here. I watched Santa Clara so many times and it was such a joy to finally see the show in real life. Called with Breathless Abandon, this show showcases high speed and intense show with lots of great choreography and pure chaos. This show is absolutely non-stop with all sorts of crazy stuff going on. I definitely wish I'd seen them more than one time on it, but it was so worth it to see that Santa Clara Vanguard controlled chaos signature. I loved it so much. Up next was the Boston Crusaders for their production of Blurred Lines. This show has many optical illusions and great staging and showcases the blurring of lines. Very fun show to watch. There is such a variety of intensity and also fun. There's always something to pay attention to and be hooked. The uniforms and the field design were simply amazing. I loved it, Boston. Thank you. Now I have to run several levels up to my section BC to get this amazing view of the court. Now it's time for Carolina Crown to put on their presentation of the Doors of Perception. They made great use of the door props, constantly moving them and utilizing the show, and of course I was amazed by the absolutely amazing brass line. They have great choreography moments spread throughout the show, which was really fun to watch. This shows another fun example of using fun and goofy moments and then transitioning into absolutely crazy and insane moments also. There's lots of times that made me want to jump out of my seat, ending with such a highlight and drum corps season. Thank you, Crown, so much for this amazing show. Then the Blue Devils came on to do their production of a very emotional, heartfelt show that told the story of the downfall of Icarus. This show was a very great watch. The music was fun and engaging and showcased the very playful and young nature of Icarus before his fatal mistake. Lots of great flying motifs and energetic moments. The The payoff of seeing the props come together and seeing this emotional ending of Icarus with his wings really brought a tear to mine. This show was amazing. Thank you, Blue Devil. It was now time for the Blue Coats to perform their legendary show of Gravity and Grace. This show was extremely amazing to watch. It was all sorts of crazy moves while playing in non-stop energy. There were things going on in this production I would just not imagine it'd be possible in a jump core show, and for them to achieve all this extremely well is absolutely something historic. I believe they were undefeated all season with an extremely high point margin, and you can definitely see it. It's creative, it's intense, and it's fun. They worked extremely hard to make this show, and even though I've seen it live a few times already, I am still amazed by how insane the show is. We all absolutely love this. Standing ovation. Thank you, Blue Coats. Now for awards. During the wait, the audience were doing funny things like the Norwegian row and doing the wave a few times. Great times. I love it. Yeah, we definitely do have fun here at DCI Finals. Alright, so the core started filing on the field, and this is always just a great sight to see. All these hardworking people in one place with each core doing their own formation, having fun along the way. I always love seeing the Cavaliers when they're wearing their OG green and of course having fun on the yard line. And then once everyone gets out, you see the core standing with such aura. Seeing this DCI final retreat live in person with this huge chaos definitely worth the price of the tickets alone. And then once the ceremony actually gets going, you see the drum majors stand close to each other and the cores relieving tension by moving around and having fun. Alright, so when everyone's in place, they get right into it to get the final scores with the occasional best category award, and you feel the tension for the first and second place award. Then the Blue Coats put their hands together as they wait for their announcement of the first place win. Great work, guys. Love the spirit. It was such a great season of DCI. Thank you for all the cores and everyone for your hard work. It was so nice to see everyone split off and have fun with each other one last time. So I heard it was possible to get a good feeling of the Encore victory round, so I ran all the way from the top of the stadium to the bottom as quickly as I could. I think I spent at least 25% of this trip running. As I got near the field, I got to run into Steve Rodden, the legendary DCI host. He was so amazing to me. Thank you so much. I was finally able to make it a couple rows from the field, and cores were starting to leave one by one. Everyone is still having a great time. Love it. The Blue Coats started getting ready for their Encore victory run and got a percussion warm-up going on. Everyone in the car was having so much fun warming up, and the audience were absolutely loving it. The energy right now was absolutely amazing. And then before I knew it, they were already performing it. This was the first time I got to see an Encore DCI victory run. Words cannot describe how incredible this experience was, basically being right here on the 50. I got to see up close how quickly they're zooming around the field for these incredibly challenging moments and getting blasted right up front by this champion-winning horn line. I got to see all these iconic and intricate moments in the show, like the solos, many movements of the seesaws, and of course this iconic Leslie brass speaker line. This was just a great late season addition, and seeing them sprint to their final drill deployments for our last core was absolutely unbelievable. Congratulations, Blue Coats. This was an amazing show. I loved it so much. Then they started doing the last pictures and cheers of the season. They always had so much fun. I love the Blue Coats energy. Then I rushed to find a charger because all my batteries were dead when my phone's about to die and I don't want to be stranded here. I stayed until security kicked me out to get a few more views of the stadium. Then I walked around the loading area to reminisce about my times in jump core and of course see behind the scenes as I waited for my lift. This was really great to see before I left. Then when I got in my lift, I got an amazing view of the stadium as we were driving away, and then I arrived at the airport to wait for my early morning flight. So cool with the airport being filled with jump core people. I then took a few hour nap in the central food court and then I walked to my plane as soon as I was able to get on. I sat by the window and had the middle seat empty and had a nice flight. I used to fly Southwest all the time when I did jump core, so this was some nice reminiscing too. Then it was daytime and I landed in Orlando and got home safely. Thank you so much for everyone for watching my DCI final journey. Stay tuned for more videos and like and follow for more, please. Bye!